So it seems that as we draw closer to Phase 2 4 Season of Discovery, coming on the 8th of February, Blizzard have finally spilt the beans on the more specific details to Season 2 that we all had questions about. In the new announcement, we've had the confirmation of some of the new runes that we're getting, updates to Nomeron, as well as a sneak peek at some of the new loot in the raid, an adaptation to dungeons, skills and professions, some clarification on the new PvP event, and finally, the grand glorious news that GDKPs are officially banned from Season of Discovery. Oh yeah, baby. So there's plenty of changes on the way for some quality of life issues and further hints of discovery on the way. And boy, does it look like good stuff indeed. But just before we jump in, as always, feel free to like and subscribe if you're new here, as it helps me out a bunch. So thanks very much indeed. Now, let's get on with it. So I think the immediate news for me that strikes as an interesting and likely great choice for Season of Discovery is that the Classic WoW team has decided to take advantage of Season of Discovery's experimental nature and ban GDKPs. And if it sounds like I'm laughing, it's because I am. Being honest, I'm really not a fan of GDKPs, and I think they take a bit of the life and soul out of the game in many ways. And we've seen the repeat effect they've had in Classic WoW with specific mentions of Wrath of the Lich King Classic. And in many ways, GDKPs appear to be a core system that discourages the true ideals of getting loot in raids in a fun manner, and instead turns raiding into a business transaction or an auction that only fuels gold farming, and then on top of that, bots farming gold that then leads to gold selling. Once again though, this is all in my humble opinion. And whilst banning GDKPs won't be a direct fix to these issues by any means, it does seem like a step in the right direction, and I think this will have a positive impact on the community in terms of social raiding. Now my only question is, how are they going to police this, and what kind of penalty will people be getting if they do get caught up in some black market GDKP runs? But I guess we'll have to wait and see for ourselves. So if your mate gets mysteriously burned in Phase 2, best believe he was a closet GDKPer. Now on to the news that many people have been waiting for. In Phase 2, we finally got clarification for some of the runes that we are getting. And to note, this article does say just some of the new runes, so it's likely we're going to get way more than these. But it seems each class is getting at least 2 runes. And it goes as follows for the moment. Warriors will be getting Rallying Cry and Blood Surge, helping out with some raid buffs and some increased damage alongside rage management. For Paladins, we'll be getting Sheath of Light and Guarded by the Light. So bring your sunglasses for starters. But this also means some increased damage and healing, which I'm sure Holy Paladins will be rejoicing at. Palagang elitists here. Druids are getting Eclipse, a fan favourite from future expansions, alongside King of the Jungle, for some nice buffs to both boomkins and kitties alike. Hunters are getting Melee Specialist for some adaptations to their melee abilities, as well as Trap Launch, which I think is a really great and nice addition to help out with CCs in future dungeons or raids. Rogues get Shuriken Toss, which I always think is just a pretty cool idea, regardless of its pragmatic use. And Master of Subtlety, which helps out with damage after stealth. Shamans are seeing Maelstrom Weapons, Spirit of the Alpha, and Two-Handed Mastery, which all should be some pretty nice, decent damage bonuses. And Spirit of the Alpha helping out with tanks keeping aggro during fights. Finally, onto the Clothies. Mage are getting Missile Barrage to allow them to continue to do nonsensical things, as well as Chronostatic Preservation for some healing benefits. Warlocks are getting a Dot Refresher with Invocation, and Dance of the Wicked for increased dodge bonuses, ideal for Warlock tanking, I'd assume. And last but by no means least, Priests will be getting a little damage increase with Mind Spike and some further healing mechanics in Pain Suppression. So overall, there's a fair amount of new runes on the way. So like I said, I'd assume this means there's plenty more to discover. Pardon the terrible pun. Onto the new raid we're getting in Nomeron or Nomagon, depending how you want to say it. It's confirmed we're getting a 10-man raid with 6 bosses. And we've received a bit of info on how the bosses will change for the instance turned raid, so we can get some prep in for the mechanics of what's going to be going on. The Classic WoW team has also led us in on a lovely little peek at the loot table for the raid, and some of the new Hazard, Hyperconductive, and Electromanic set pieces that we can be claiming from the naughty little rebel gnomes and machines that we'll be facing. If there is something specific you want to look at, I'd implore you to go check out the loot table, but to me, a quick glance did enough for me, as I just thought, yeah, that looks like good loot, like a pure filthy casual, but it's nice they're giving us a sneaky preview of what's to come. Now on to the next piece of news is that we're getting some skill books, which at first glance seems to be a really great addition to Season of Discovery, where these skill books will teach you various abilities and will not take up a rune slot either. Now this is due to players who felt their class was slightly behind or underpowered at 25, due to skills being locked behind the level cap. So these skill books should hopefully be some quality of life implementations here, aiming to bolster your skill level and attributes so that you shouldn't feel too behind when it comes to your class's specialization. I think this is also a great way to keep dungeons relevant for a bit longer, as well as these newer rewards. As I don't know about you, but Phase 1 dungeons didn't didn't really seem like they were that important for that long, besides some quest lines such as dead mines and stockades, leading you to get a biz ring. Now that is indeed part of them being level 25 dungeons, but this is Season of Discovery, so I think it's open to making dungeons provide a bit more of a punch. So overall, I think this will be a warm welcome for both dungeons and skills alike. Onto big scale PvP, we have the new event based in Stranglethorn Vale called Beware the Blood Moon. Yes, very scary. Now different to Ashen Vale, this will be taking place on an eye-watering 3-hour time scale, different to what was Ashen Vale's typically hourly run. And the event is set to last only 30 minutes, consisting of killing players in STV to gather currency that you can then spend on new items, such as some new sparkly flashy epic gear or 2 new fancy looking mounts. Oh yes, all very lovely, all very shiny indeed. So Beware the Blood Moon will occur on this 3-hour timescale, signalled by a large red mist ominously appearing above the sky in STV. The event seems to provide some nice bonuses and seems like fun, which I am sure overall will be pure rage-inducing carnage. Yet for those without such bloodlust, or those who don't want to be sat there shouting in an epic rage at their monitor for 30 minutes, you are able to opt out of the event by speaking to the Zandalari emissary. Finally, there are some updates to professions, where players will be able to discover about 20 new recipes across all non-gathered professions, and professions will cap at 225 in Phase 2, with profession specializations which are set to open later in the year in Phase 3. So, if you haven't yet, there's still enough time to get out there and level up some professions in time for Phase 2. But there we have it, a whistle-stop tour of everything we have to look forward to in about a week's time for Season of Discovery Phase 2, coming on the 8th of February. If there's anything you think I missed or want to read more on, definitely check out Blizzard's post on this. There's also a 30 to 40 minute long presentation where the classic WoW team takes you through the changes themselves, but it is a long one. So till then, do let me know what you're looking forward to in Phase 2 for Season of Discovery. As always, feel free to like and subscribe if you're new here. And on that note, I think I'll say ta-ra for now, and I'll see you later.